Your Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of Uganda People's Defense Forces, the Honorable Minister of State for Defense, the representative of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, the Commander Land Forces, the Director General Internal Security Organization, the Chief of Defense Force, the Chief of Defense Intelligence and Security, General Officers and Senior Officers of Uganda People's Defense Forces, the RDC, members of Parliament present, Nakasongola local leaders present, commanders of sister security organizations present, religious leaders, traditional leaders, graduates of Counter-Terrorism Warriors and Special Operations Tactics courses, intake 7 of the year 2023-2024, and year intake 1 of 2024 respectively. Invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am Colonel James Muhumza, Commandant, School of Defense Intelligence and Security. It is with pleasure for me to welcome you to Migyera School of Defense Intelligence and Security. I want to thank Your Excellency for having ordered our invitation despite your busy schedule to this pass-out ceremony. Today marks the completion of 9 months of hectic training where the School of Defense Intelligence and Security is yet to graduate 298 counter-terrorism warriors, intake 7 of the year 2023-2024, and 58 graduates of special tactics who have successfully completed their training. Your Excellency, the overall objective of these courses was to produce soldiers capable of undertaking special tasks against terrorists, as well as undertaking other complex operations. The training programs and packages were designed to achieve that objective, and we worked through the last 9 months to achieve those objectives. The counterterrorism course started in November 2023 with a total of 709 trainees. I'm glad to inform you that this is the second intake of counterterrorism to be conducted purely by UPDF, School of Defense Intelligence and Security, without any external support. I want to thank Your Excellency for your efforts and capacity building and in professionalizing the Uganda People's Defense Forces. Your Excellency, terrorism, to which we are training against, is a serious threat. To put it in perspective, during the reign of terror, the first time the word terrorism was coined to refer to the current characteristic of terrorism, over 30 to 50,000 people died in France from 1793 to July 1794. In modern times, terrorism remains a preferred method of creating violence and terror by most bad elements. Your Excellency, turning to the African continent, according to the Global Terrorism Index of 2024, Africa had become the global epicenter of terrorism. In 2023, Sub-Saharan Africa presented the highest number of terror attacks globally, with Sahel region accounting for 43% of all deaths from terrorism. Al-Shabaab, which is near us, is among the top 4 terrorist groups responsible for most deaths in 2023. Your Excellency, Uganda has a history of repeating acts of terrorism since 1986. All terrorist-designated groups, including LRA, ADF, among others, have been defeated, save some isolated incidents. Your Excellency, the country appreciates your efforts in fighting against terrorism. Therefore, Your Excellency, this training is our humble contribution as the School of Defense Intelligence and Chief of Defense Intelligence, is our humble contribution in fighting and completely defeating terrorism in Uganda and making this country a better place to live in. In addition, Your Excellency, the capacity we are building through training will go a long way in making a contribution to regional and international stability. For us as the school to fit in the above narrative and to be able to produce the best, we divided the course in phases. Phase 1 was to build resilience of participants, build their physical and mental preparedness. We also introduced students to concepts of terrorism and counterterrorism before moving to tactical application of these concepts. This phase was conducted in Migyera at the School of Defense, Intelligence and Security. The subsequent second and third phases were done in Butiaba, Kaweweta, and Nakasongola cantonment. And I thank commanders of those units for hosting, accommodating, and facilitating the course in different ways. During the second phase of the course, counterterrorism was joined by special tactics with a total of 128 students in the month of February 2024. Today, we are graduating only 58 who managed to complete. The rest did not meet our required standards. Your Excellency, sir, I have the pleasure to report to you that the graduate exhibited good discipline. Highly trained forces must be disciplined. We modeled their discipline, but also those who did not measure to the discipline standards are among those who have not qualified. I'm now confident that the professional skills we built, plus the discipline, graduates will be able to perform their responsibilities as expected of them. Your Excellency, I want to inform you that despite these efforts, the school still has challenges. The notable ones are infrastructure and some teaching aids. I've already briefed you about the detailed challenges. Now to the graduates. I want to thank you for the hard work, resilience, commitment, and discipline that you exhibited while on the course. You are coming in the field of combating terrorism when UPDF has improved means of doing operations. The force already has the technical and human capacity to fight any threat on Ugandan soil. You are just an additional cohort of warriors coming in to join counterterrorism efforts. However, you need to know that the environment of countering violent extremism is now dynamic and challenging. The drivers of violent extremism are ever increasing, with the operational environment characterized by advancement of technology and globalization. You no longer control information space. Whatever you do is seen in real time by everybody. Therefore, you must act professionally in accordance with the laws of Uganda and UPDF standard operating procedures. In addition, you must work on individual behaviors. You must avoid acts that compromise your effectiveness. You as soldiers need to know that soldiering is built on fundamentals which include marksmanship, discipline, esprit de corps, and political education, among others. You need to follow them. Your Excellency, I want to thank you once again for your efforts in professionalizing the UPDF. The violent extremism that we are training against will be overcome with your continued efforts of creating the capacity to fight, and also your efforts of addressing drivers of violent extremism. We are aware of the other front line of strengthening both micro and macro economy and generally addressing individual household incomes. Thank you, UPDF leadership headed by the Chief of Defense Forces, who have supported the training in one way or another. The Office of Joint Staff, the Joint Staff Logistics, the Chief of Defense Intelligence and Security, Joint Staff Doctrine and Training, Commander Ordnance, and many others who made this training possible.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Honorable Minister of State for Defense and Veteran Affairs, the CLF representing the Chief of Defense Forces, Madam Edith Rutoro representing the PS, the Minister of Defense, Brigadier Luka, Lieutenant General Migyera, Head of NEC, the local leaders here, General of UPDF, ladies and gentlemen. So, Your Excellency, I don't have a lot. I'll prepare the speech, but I don't think it is important I just only want to thank you so much, sir, and once again, welcome you to this School of Intelligence, but also extend my thanks on behalf of the School of Intelligence and the entire fraternity of the Chieftains of Defense Intelligence for having this opportunity amongst the publicity schedule to come and preside over this important ceremony. It is not something that we can take for granted. Your Excellency, I want also to take the same opportunity to thank the UPDF leadership through the Chief of Defense Forces and the PS for really supporting us, because hadn't it been them, we wouldn't have acquired even what you have seen. We thank you very much. But also I want to take the same opportunity to thank the instructors, like the commandant said, that these people, sir, are always here, year in, year out, passing out warriors and different courses, intake one and the other, but they are never tired. We want to thank you so much, the instructors and all the supporting staff of SODIS, without forgetting the civilians like the chairman, LOC1 was saying, and the local leadership that have always supported you and provided all, even the logistics that you have always utilized to achieve what you have achieved. Sir, I do not have a lot, but only to have one word or two to the graduates. To you, the graduates, we have seen your performance. I want to be very clear to you that gone are the days where intelligence was all about collecting information, processing it, and then disseminating intelligence for others to act. It is no reason they are calling you warriors. You cannot only be warriors and only keep on collecting information. You will collect information in either way, but in most cases, you'll be required to act like you have seen. This course at least shows you that naweza nikawaelezea haki, intelligence ya city, it is very important, but rest be assured that we expect you in the field to deliver what is expected of you. And lastly, I want to be very clear to you that as you come in to serve this nation, better forget about corruption. And of course, I have always told you and those above you that all these transformations that you're talking about without fighting, we have talked the threats that we have terrorism and all the rest, but without fighting threat number one, which is corruption, then we are wasting our time. And lastly, please, you are young people who have just spent all the time here. We have spent a lot of funds and equipments and the time to train you. Please do not waste your health in a very short time. We expect a lot of you, and once you remain like we did and prepare, and like we prepared you, then you are better to serve Uganda, like the rest have said, in order to protect the integrity of the country.
I'm called Lieutenant General Kayanja Muhanga, the Commander Land Forces. I'm here to represent the Chief of Defense Forces, who has not been able to come here because of other assigned duties. Mine is not a speech, but a few comments, and then I will leave the stage. First of all, I want to thank the commandant of this school and his instructors for a job very well done. I have heard from his comprehensive report on the training these men have gone through. Very tough course. I think that they are going to be very, very effective in the field. I want to thank the Minister of Defense for the support they have given to this training. I want to thank the Chief of Defense Intelligence and Security for steering this training, for the support and steering this training to conclusion. I want also to thank and congratulate the graduates today for a job well done. It's been very rigorous, very tough. You needed to be very resilient to reach this end and graduate. You need to clap for yourselves. This course is just the beginning of your training. It's not the end. You are going to be out there. You need to be disciplined. You don't need to go out there and drink and then misbehave, which may lead you to very serious diseases. So you protect yourself. You are still very young. You have a very long time ahead of you. I want to thank His Excellency the President for his efforts through this journey, long journey of professionalizing the Uganda People's Defense Forces. What we see today, the results of a peaceful country, our contribution to the region and to Africa as a whole, is testimony to his efforts and the efforts of the army leadership towards a very positive direction. Having said this, my comments end here, and I take this opportunity now to invite the State Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs to come and give her remarks.
Your Excellency, I had a speech, but because of time, I will just say only 3 things. For the interest of those who are maybe seeing me the first time, I'm called Nirabashiti Sarah Mateke. I'm Minister of State for Defense and Veteran Affairs, and I'm here to represent the Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs, who is away on official duty. My duty was simply to invite the President, His Excellency the President, to talk to us. But before I do that, Your Excellency, I'll just say 3 things. 1, I want to thank you for your strategic vision and emphasis on the continuous training and professionalizing of the UPDF to create a strategic advantage and capability to meet changing security threats. Secondly, I want to thank our invited guests for sparing their time to come here. And I want also to thank the graduates and congratulate them all on their individual and collective achievements to reach this significant milestone. Your Excellency, this pass-out ceremony today is a testament that, Your Excellency, you have always had a historical mission and commitment to guarantee national defense, security, and socio-economic transformation.
I congratulate the graduates for this very tough course. You heard that you are many, more than 700. Only 300 have graduated. And the other course also was tough. There were more than 100. Only 58 have graduated. I therefore thank the instructors and the school for setting high standards, because that's what the battlefield needs. When we were fighting here in Ruero, the young people we had recruited started complaining to their parents. Ntiawayekera, batuyisanga ensolo, batuyisa magwa. The recruits we had recruited in the bush started complaining that in the training, the instructors were harsh. Using our political methods, I called a public meeting of the Wananchi. And I said, you wananchi, thank you for giving us your children for training. And I want you to know that military training is like okuwagala jambia, okuwagala, okutyaza. I told the parents that training in the army is like sharpening the panga, which is called okuwagala in Uganda and okutyaza in Runyankore. I told them that when you are okuwagala jambia, when you are sharpening the panga complains. Ure jambia ekaba, obo juwagala, ekaba. But I told them that if you want okutema omuti, obo yagala okutema omuti, if you want to cut the tree, you must have a sharp panga. There is no alternative. And therefore, the more the panga cries, when you are sharpening it, the better for the project. So you young people have passed through the okuwagala. What do we call sharpening the panga in Luo? Tie loka Luo. Tie kwene.
Your Excellency, it's called Pako Pala.
Pako?
Pala.
Panga.
Oh, Panga, yes, sir.
Oh, Pako Panga. So there have been Pako Panga in you. And therefore, nobody should complain. You should be very happy that they have really Pako Panga to you. That's how I've got these ones who have got, Banyankole call it oboji. The panga is sharp enough, it can cut. So I want to congratulate you for going through this tough course, but also congratulate the instructors. I was hearing the chief instructor explaining, I could see, even the other one who was briefing us, the commandant, I could see that they know what they are talking about. Both theoretically and also practically. On the issue of the infrastructure, I want to also congratulate the UPDF for knowing how to use the katono, akaliwo. The UPDF are not like and NRA before, are not like some of the people. Oh, we don't have this, we don't have this, we don't have this, so we can't start. I actually would like the media team, my press team, to capture those tents there behind where we passed. Show where the soldiers are staying, not in grofers, but they are able to use those improvised structures to produce good quality people. Those Banyankoro viewers used to have very sharp proverbs. There is one which says, "Orichifucha mtuma, ngwenju yasia utumunyarire mbyame." this is referring to a stupid man when the house in which he was staying was on fire. Then he told people to make a bed for him to sleep. So the Banyangole said, this is Kifucha he's mindless, has no working mind. How can you talk of making a bed for you to sleep when the house is on fire? So when Uganda is fighting with many problems, lack of this, lack of that, lack of that, and then for you say, I can't do my work unless I get all this, unless I get a gorofa, unless I do this. This is not how NRA built this powerful force, which has saved Uganda from chaos. You have heard the LC1 giving testimony that this army is army of a new type. In fact, there's one of our girls, she's called Nawagereka, she is one of the mobilizers of the NRM. One day she gave a kiton to me, saying, Abasirikali, abalinga ababikira, soldiers who are like nuns. They are so polite, you think they are nuns. That army, we were able to build it with very little resources. Therefore, this culture of we can't do this because we don't have this is not part of our system. And these people are a good example there. There is no infrastructure here. But they are produced very good quality people using humble infrastructure. So this one challenges all these other fellows. We want this, money, 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 money. So I thank you for that simple living that has enabled us to have a strong army with little resources. Some years ago, I told my people to check the budget of UPDF and compare it with other countries. At one time, we were spending like $500 million. Other countries were billions a year, but we were able to defend the country. The ones spending billions can't defend the country. They need UN. We cannot have UN here. UN is an insult that we call UN to defend us as if we are maggots. So I want to congratulate all of you for the clear-headedness. Yes, we need a good life, but good life will come from hard work. It will come later. So I want to congratulate the whole army for that attitude of using the little that is there. Now, Kulda Rwabaruri, mulina okuva mu bwavu. Tukabohereza sente za PDM ahamuruka naho amashaza hariho sente z'emyoga mwazikozesa gye omuntu yatunga $1,000,000 nibasa kumuyamba kubyara emicungwa emiyembe omuhikemu ningo omwanditi umayaba kuno yanugumera yoki so kundaze garuka kuno yanimba ninyenda kureba ngo kugira abantu amubu natayayira abari cyo kureberaho ahabandi kubarigiro mboro ato mucyari cyagamba iki ecyamataka ekintu kimwe no kwego kukozesa kukorera muri no kuyiga gukorera abafunda waliwo obutasomesebwa kwekyo kubanga waliwo ebintu byosobola okukorera abafunda oyinza kusimba omuddo gw'ente ente nozitemera enzungu noziwera omuddo mu kiyumba n'olunda ente 8 yiika y'omuddo bw'otemera ente esobola okwanirira ente 8 omwaka ez'enzungu kati buli bw'obeera n'ente 8 3 ku zo ziba zikamwa kati singa buli emu okuweereza lita 2 ze lita 6 lita 6 oyinza kunywako 10 n'otunda 5 buli lunaku. Kati emanju oyinza kuteekayo enkoko z'amagi. Waliwo abakoze omulimu ogwo mbadde ntwala abantu Fort Portal okulaba omwami gwe bayita Nyakaana afuna sente nyingi miliyoni 13 okuva mu yiika emu. N'olwekyo iwe Muharanje omukyala LC1 abantu mbashomese okukorera hafunzire amataka mahango atita amataka ate amataka ebe yamataka etembere konka no osakora hafunzire no koreraho icyango abatari kweganya mpunu mbasa kuzirisa nyoti nkurisa mpunu konga watakuzeganya mbasa kuzirisa abatenyanyara mbizi muyinza kurunda embizi nazo uyinza kuzirundira wafunda. There is a problem which I saw long ago when we were fighting here, but I have never had time to deal with it. So I want my PPS to remind me when I go back, this soil here, the soil of this area, Nakasongola, Ngoma, I think even Singo to some extent, is what we call a nombe, the red soil. It means it has got quite a bit of iron, but I don't know how fertile it is. Do we have an agricultural person here? Omulimi sawena Nakasongola alirudawa. Olwo omulimi sayena Are you qualified?
Yes, Your Excellency, I am a soil scientist from Makerere University with a degree in agricultural land use and management.
You are a soil scientist?
Yes.
So this red soil, how?
Your Excellency, most of the soils we have in Nakasongola are not very deeply fertile, but they can sustain any kind of crop, most especially cassava is one of the most crops that does well in Nakasongola. But even when well fed the soil with a few nutrients that we get from our cows, the cow dung, it can sustain any other crop.
But don't we need to do we have to change the red soil or
Shonga, unless it has been exhausted, that's when you can feed it. But it is doing well. People are getting very good yields from their cassava.
No, but on the Ngoma side, I used to see Ebharamata. Ebharamata Mbimanya. Ebharamata. You would find patches of no grass. What causes that?
Now that one is the patches, the red patches. That's also kind of soil that we have in Uganda, and that is very predominant here in Nakasongola. It needs to be tilled a lot. It needs the first tilling and the second tilling for it to be fine. And whenever you've tilled it twice, the
So
crops
what
come out
what
well.
would chua ebiharamata?
One of the,
Ebiharamata mu Luganda babiyita batya? Huh? Ebiharamata era bifanagana. Yeah, so what solution do we have for ebiharamata? Because I could see there were places where grass could not grow.
one of the things is that most of those soils are being overgrazed. That could be one of the reasons. They need to be left to rest for some time and also be fed with other nutrients that can, because those the tropical soils which are red.
That's what I want. So the chairman, LC5, where is the chairman? I saw him somewhere. Ngenda kusindikira abakugu ba soil scientist bajje mugere ku kigambo ky'ebiharamata. Kati ono mwana agambye nti tuyinza kugenderawo naye nze sagala tinkwenda okugenderaho nk'obwatuka bwenanga ninyenda okugenda nimbanyi kinkukora kubanga ono omwana agamba tuyinza kugenderawo wadde waliwo ebizibu mu ttaka naye tumala gagenderawo nze sigenderawo bwe ntyo. I want to be sure because I saw ebiharamata where nothing was growing. On that side it's quite many.
Even here.
Kati ngenda kusindikira soil scientists. So my staff, Professor Zake was, if he's still active, I would send him.
Okay, sir. Twamulindirira twamubona sebo. Kale nsanyukire ino okulaba abaduuli batandise okusoma ngono yasoma gw'omwana yasoma soil science jangu ontegeeze amanya go. Nsanyukire ino okusanga abaduuli kati basoma.
Your Excellency,
Your name is what?
Akandwanaho Ivan, and I'm Mluli from Nakasongola Nabiswela sub-county.
Very good. Mluli by adoption. Yafuka Mluli oyo. On the issue of LC1 and her transport, omukazi atandite ekisira n'ogwo muhereze pikipiki hati. Ijaba kwa pikipiki yawe. Tikubasa motoka tingujibasa. Kandi motoka ya LC1 ninjibasa. Kati njagala kwetondera Sheikh kubanga kituufu Sheikh abantu bange bamwerabidde ebbanga ddene ate balina okwenenya eri Katonda abasaasire kubanga nkakasa bishop eyajja recently owekasana ndowooza yafuna motoka ye. Kale piki bakwekyali piki naye kati ngenda kutereeza ekigambo kya Sheikh naye njagala Sheikh naye yenenye aleke ekigambo ky'omusingo kubanga abadde ayagala kuwamu motoka yange emwano nti abadde ateeseza nti awambe emu ku motoka zange egera esigala wano okutuusa bwenda gitaasa neeyiye mu bitono byemanyi ku busiraamu ekyo kiyinza kuba haramu kubanga obusiraamu tebukkiriza magoba ate ndowooza tebukkiriza musingo ate sagala kuyingiza shake mu kibi. Leka nsire n'emmotoka zange zonna ngenda kusindikira eyo. So on the issue of the graduates, as we were saying there, when we were by ourselves, the intelligence are the eyes, the ears, the nose of the army. And the Banyankole say, orukwenda kwitembwa rukola ki? Which means that the disease that is most dangerous for the dog is when it loses ability to smell. When the dog can no longer smell, it will not survive. So therefore, the intelligence service are the eyes, the ears, and the nose of the army. So that whenever the army is going somewhere, it knows where it is going and what it is going to do there and what is there. So I'm glad about this training, and we are going to do everything possible to improve the infrastructure. Given the importance of the intelligence branch and of the training in general, in fact, I've already given instructions on training. I've already said that all the training schools must be centers of excellence. And I know I gave the example of our experience. In the 1950s, 1960s, many villages in Uganda had no good infrastructure. People were staying in grass huts in most parts of the country. They had no piped water, no electricity. But whenever we go to a school, you'll find improved things there. Like when I came to Ntare, 1961, I found electricity, I found piped water, I found you could wash from a shower. We had a toilet, water